Don't want to pay me what I'm worth? Let's see how that works out for you. First time posting, but I have read a lot of these. So years ago, I was working for a laboratory that did a lot of testing for the military. It was a terrible job for a number of reasons. Despite having enormous responsibility, they never gave me credit for anything. In meetings with the department head DH, they frequently blamed me for problems that they had caused but I had solved and they could not. They also hired consultants to come in and tell me I was wrong only to have the consultants say I was right, and the consultants would get paid 1/4 of my yearly salary for 1 day's worth of work. I only stayed as long as I did because it was my first real job and I honestly didn't know better. But before I left, by their own standards, I was severely underpaid. HR agreed. They claimed there was nothing that could be done. Meanwhile, other people were given off-schedule raises. Well, I wasn't the only one that was underpaid. There were a number of others as well. But none of them were critical to the operation of the laboratory. Eventually, the DH went to the director with a list of all the underpaid people. I found out that my name was on the top of the list as the most underpaid person, not surprising. Using this list, the DH got permission from the director for one-time raises. An announcement was made. Well, guess who didn't get a raise? This despite that fact that I had made massive improvements in some of their processes that easily saved them millions per year, and their budget was just over $10 million. I was livid. I had enough and decided to leave. They hired 2 people to replace me at more than double my salary. One of them had just graduated 2 weeks before. From what I understand, they had a lot of difficulty. That would have been enough for most people and maybe even for me for most of my life. But it wasn't enough for me then. I wanted revenge for what they had done to me, so I arranged a meeting with one of the project managers PM from the Department of the Military that we had done our tests for. I casually mentioned to him that I had left my old job. He was shocked. Remember how I said they never gave me credit for anything? Well, the military PMs considered me an invaluable expert and could not understand why the lab had driven me away. They immediately pulled several $1 million worth of work from the lab and gave it to the competition. Several labs were involved because they had no confidence that the lab could do the work anymore. When I ran into one of the lab managers, the only half-decent guy there, I casually mentioned my meeting with the PM, and I could tell he figured out how the military knew I had left. It took them years to recover, and honestly, I don't know if they ever really did. Last time I checked their webpage, it hadn't been updated in at least 12 years. I would have been happy with a $20,000 raise. Ecstatic even. But they weren't willing to spend $20,000 and lost $2 million to start and more in the long run. I started my own business and now make at least 5 times what I would if I had stayed there until now, and more than 10 times what I was making when I left.